Well, hi everybody, it's Lisa Tamati here at Pushing the Limits, and thank you once again for joining me. I really appreciate your loyalty, and if you're new to the show, welcome aboard. Today, before I go any further, I wanted to say to you, if you have any questions about any of the shows that I've done, any of the guests that I've had, if you've got any challenges around running, mindset, health or fitness, the things that I usually talk about, then I'd welcome your emails. Please reach out to me at lisa@lisatamati.co.nz and I will try to get back to you. Now, on today's show, I have my business partner and co-founder at Running Hot Coaching, Neil Wagstaff, exercise scientist. Now, Neil has been my coach for the past decade and he has a wealth of knowledge. And today's topic is, once again, of course, my favorite, running. How to do it better, how to run faster, be stronger, get fitter, all without burning yourself out and without those horrible injuries that are so common amongst runners. Right, so I hope you enjoy the show, and yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi everybody, Lisa Tamati here, and I'm with my business partner Neil Wagstaff from Running Hot Coaching, and today we wanted to tell you a little bit about our whole training system, our 5 pillars approach to running, and why it is revolutionary, why it is completely different than what anyone else is offering, and why it's getting such fantastic results for our athletes all around the world that we coach. So Neil, tell them a little bit about our story, our backstory.
Our story, well, hey, it's a fun story. How long they got? So 10 years or so ago now, we met in Taranaki, New Plymouth in New Zealand, and you were doing some big Ks. You were running some big Ks each week. You were very successful as well. So very successful what you'd achieved, what you'd done. You just come back to New Zealand after spending some time in Europe, but you're starting to get a lot of niggles, a lot of injuries, not bouncing back as well as you used to. Finding that your mind was starting to play some tricks on you with how well you were doing, how well you were how close you were getting to your goals.
Yep.
And we had a good look through your training program, and more at that stage for me than you. I was a lot more excited than you about what we could achieve by tweaking and changing your training.
Yeah.
And looking at starting to pull it apart, because the Ks you were doing were excessive week in, week out. They had their place, but you were hitting real high volume every week.
So to give the people a little bit of background, so I'm an ultramarathon runner, and I've been doing this sort of game for the last 25 years. So that's extreme long distance racing. And prior to meeting Neil, I had done a whole lot of massive big races, been based in Europe, and I'd had the old traditional sort of high mileage training plans. All I ever did was run long, run slow. I never had any speed or any talent in that regard. What I had was a really tough mindset, and I would smash out huge kilometers every week. Now that had worked up until a point, but when I came to see Neil, I was completely broken. I'd just run a race in Niger, which was a 333k race across in the middle of the Sahara, and I'd got food poisoning on top of it, and it was horrific. To put it mildly, this was horrific, and I was broken. I was burnt out. I was unmotivated, and I didn't know where to go. And exactly at this time in my life, I also qualified for my dream race, which was the Badwater Ultramarathon through Death Valley, 217 Ks in the USA. And so I was desperate because I just lost my mojo completely, and my body wasn't doing what it should have been doing. And so I was desperate for help. And that's when Neil came on the scene and as he said, looked at my training program and just threw his hands in the air really and said, we got to change a few things here. And to be honest, at the beginning, I was like very, very resistant. We butted heads quite for a long time. He cut my mileage basically in half. And we introduced what we now call the 5 pillars into our training system. I butted heads for a long time, and I didn't think he knew what he was doing, etc. But man, I was so wrong. When I actually started, and I knew that what I'd been doing was no longer working for me, so I needed some sort of new approach. So I eventually caved in and said, right, we're going to do it your way. We're going to try the system. And lo and behold, amazing results. Within months, I had rebuilt my body completely from the ground up. All the exhaustion was gone, the burnout, the lack of motivation, I was much stronger physically, so I didn't have big bulky muscles, but I had strong functional muscles. I'd wasted a lot of my muscle mass from running. And what followed were the best years of my career. National championships, I won the nationals and podiumed on a couple of areas, so 24-hour racing, 100-kilometre racing, that type of thing. Podium places on many big international ultramarathon events. In short, way above what my abilities had been up until that point, and it was because I adopted this new approach. And then I really started to realise, man, we're all doing it wrong. The traditional old high mileage models that we had all been told to run, they worked up until a certain point, and they certainly work if you're a 20-year-old elite athlete and you don't have a career and you're a professional athlete and you can spend all day doing that. But that isn't the reality for most of us. And when you get into your 30s, into your 40s and 50s, you need a new approach if you want longevity in the sport. And that's where we came to really develop our 5 pillars approach. So Neil, tell them about the 5 pillars. What are they?
So number one we look at is the run technique. So how well you're running. So a lot of people can get massive, huge wins from running well and running better. So we look at technique, we look at body position, body awareness, where you're striking the ground, how well you're moving forward, how well your torso's moving. So do a full analysis on where your body's moving, and then give you the drills to put in place to tidy that up. So a lot of niggles and injuries will come from run technique, not necessarily imbalances. So that's the first one, making sure the technique's on point and teaching people how to change that to the point that they want to change it. So we meet them where they're at and change it to the point where they want to improve it too. Not saying everyone needs to become a high-end top athlete. Making some subtle little changes, though, can get you some huge big wins.
Massive. I mean, just a simple one, you know, we see so many people striking with the heel out in front of their body when they land. Now, that's just sending shock forces right up through your body, impact. It's breaking you, so you're actually going against gravity, and there are little tweaks that we can make that can make, oh my gosh, I can actually run much better and much faster and with a lot less ease. And there's, you know, other things take a little bit longer, the patterns that you have to reprogram your brain for, and that's where the drills and the techniques and then the other parts of the puzzle come in as well.
So we've got as well the bit that we put in quickly for you as well as the daily mobility and flexibility work. So that's looking at where your muscles are short and tight, where they're long and weak, identifying those, and that's going to be different from person to person. And then putting yourself in a position that in an ideal perfect world, you do an hour a day, but we know that's not realistic. So even small 5 minutes a day starts to get wins. So looking after and loving your feet, might be rolling the feet on a daily basis, getting some more movement through the ankle, the hips, the shoulders, the back. Whatever part of the body you're going to work on, the mobility and flexibility work is a key part to the running program, and hence why it's one of our pillars. One of
our essential pieces of the puzzle. And the mobility work, and the next piece of the puzzle is specific strength training for runners. They're 2 pieces of the puzzle that runners don't like doing, because it doesn't show up on your Strava or on your Map My Run when you've been doing an hour of yoga, and so we have this mentality that if we collect more kilometres, that's far more important than doing our strength or our mobility. And our job is to try and flip your mindset on that, because to be honest, doing an extra 5Ks or 6Ks or 10Ks today is not going to bring you half as much as spending some time actually doing the strength training as well. Of course, you need the miles. We're not saying you don't need any, but you can get further on less and get much more efficient and much faster and be fitter. And you also don't run into the injury niggles that you would otherwise get when you're building some strength. So Neil, explain a little bit the kinetic chain and why we need to be strong and where we need to be strong as athletes.
So we want to make sure that the body, as you referenced there, the kinetic chain, the body's in good alignment. So the body should be in good alignment from the feet all the way up through the ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, with the neck and spine and being in good position as well. If one of those things is slightly off, it only needs to be slightly off, that's going to change how you run. It's going to change the volume of injuries you get, the amount of pain you get. So being strong and functional for running is one thing, being strong. So it's not a case of just going to the gym and lifting heavy weights to get stronger. It is strength training that is going to be transferable to running. So it's specific to our sport and specific to what we do. So making sure that the exercises you are doing, and again, time-wise, for some people, if you've got time, this can be 2, 3, 4 times a week for longer sessions. But a lot of the people we're working with, and ourselves included, are time poor. So what we've got as part of this pillar is making sure that the workouts are efficient, effective in a short period of time. So you can get great strength gains in workouts that are as short as 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Great gains. And that is then transferable to the running. So having the strong core, strong through the and functional through the glutes, strong and functional through the upper back, and making sure that the calves and the lower legs and the feet are doing the job they should as well.
Yeah, so that's the strength part of the puzzle. So far we've gone through your run sessions. Obviously you have your running sessions, your interval training, your fartlek training, your tempo, your hills, all of that sort of good stuff, your long, slow. Then you've got your run sessions, your drill and technique work, you've got your mobility work, you've got your strength work. And then the next piece of the puzzle, of course, is nutrition and supplementation. If you don't put good fuel in the car's going to not go well. It doesn't matter how much you try and chase that car around the track and train it and make it work hard. If you're not putting the right fuel in, and I know everyone thinks this is obvious now, but it's still a piece. And even as a an athlete for years, I was thinking, well, I run so much, I can put anything in I like, because hell, you got to have some advantages in life, but it doesn't really work that way. And so having a good nutrition guidance, whether you're vegetarian, vegan, keto, non-keto, there's 100 things out there, but the base nutrition guidelines are the same for us all, and there's some simple things. And then there's supplementation. Now, supplementation guidance we also give because as runners, we need electrolytes, for example. There's a few products that we work with, that have worked well for us over the years. And these are a crucial part of the puzzle. If you don't get your electrolyte and your hydration right, then all bets are off. You can die, literally, if you're doing, the sort of races that I was doing and you didn't get your electrolytes right and your supplementation right, you can actually kick the bucket. So it can be that important, but even for the everyday athlete, having that right supplementation, nutrition is absolute key. And the last piece of the puzzle, Neil,
is the mindset, and it's a huge part that in the early days we spent obviously working with. From your perspective, I've never worked with or met anyone that's quite got a mindset like yours, and your ability to work through things, get things done, put one foot in front of the other, and get to the finish of some really, really long races. But that is that can make or break. We've worked with athletes that are exceptionally talented, but haven't got it up here.
Yeah.
And then we've worked with athletes that aren't as talented, haven't got from a physiological point of view, haven't got the body that the more talented athletes have, but they've got the mindset to get there. They've got the ability to put the little things in place. Yeah. So having that, the belief in yourself, so many people and too many people we see will slow themselves down because of their own self-belief.
Yeah.
And their own self-worth. So changing that belief is such an important part of becoming a healthy runner.
Yep.
And realizing who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, understanding your why. That it's a piece that we couldn't leave out. It's a big part of the pillars, and one of the strong ones there.
Yeah, and like for me, I think the mindset is where you can get the most performance gains. Mm-hmm. People think, oh, it's airy fairy and it's just about building confidence and things, but the mental game is in all elite sport now. Where the competition is just so intense. It's the sports psychologists who are doing most of the work and getting the final pieces, the final percentage out of their athletes. And the same goes for your everyday athlete, your everyday warrior. This is where we can get the biggest gains. If we can turn our mind into being a mentally stronger, mentally tougher, more emotionally resilient, more able to cope with things, be able to handle more pain, whatever the aspect is that you're dealing with, being able to deal with fear and overcome obstacles and persistence. And these are key things that you learn when you're a runner. And so we work on that part of it as well. So that is our whole system. That is our 5-pillar approach that we have. Just to run through that again, you've got your run sessions with your drills and techniques. You've got your mobility workouts daily. You've got your strength workouts that are specific for runners. You're not going to get big and bulky. Your nutrition, your supplementation, and your mindset. And we've packaged this up into a really nice packet for you so that it's really simple to follow, because complicated will get nobody anywhere fast, especially if you're time poor, you haven't got time to read screeds of information, you don't want to be timing every damn kilometre, you want to be able to just get your workouts done. This is what I've got to do, make it simple, and follow the guidelines. And it's a paint by number system, really. We've been able to develop to that point. We've worked on it for the last 10 years at Running Hot Coaching, and we've now got a product that is repeatable, predictable, it gets results every time for our athletes, whether they are absolute beginners or whether they're elite ultramarathon runners. We work with people right across the board. And when I say beginners, I mean people that are just running to their letterbox and back and haven't even got a pair of running shoes yet. We start at that level, and we love working with people at that level. So that's sort of what we do. Anything to add there, Neil?
I think it's just understanding as well that we're looking at developing and encouraging longevity in the sport. So we're looking at developing healthy runners. We want to develop runners that have got a healthy, strong foundation, and that comes from those 5 pillars. And with that healthy, strong foundation, you'll have longevity in the sport, but you want longevity in short distance, middle distance, long distance, ultra distance. The longevity will be there. So what we've learned over the years is longevity definitely doesn't come from smashing yourself with high mileage and high volume. Longevity comes from what you do religiously each day. It's the little bits each day that will give you longevity and health in the sport. So definitely healthy runners is going to give you optimal performance. Optimal
performance. So health is at the basis of all our beliefs. And, we don't want to, I trained wrong for a long period of time and I paid the price. I'm still paying the price on some of the things that I did. So health is really, really important for us. We don't want runners that smash out a couple of PBs over the next couple of marathons, but then they're gone. They're gone from the sport forever because they're broken, they're burnt out, their bodies aren't doing what they should be doing anymore. That's not what we want. We want you still running marathons or whatever you're into at the age of 90. Why not? It's doable. And so that's where we base all of our information. Now, our Run Club is situated, so it's all online. You have all access to all of the programs, 15 fully periodized programs from distances from 5 kilometers right up to ultra marathon distance. You get all of that mobility, that strength workout, all of that what we've just covered before, all in the puzzle. And then you also have the accountability of our group. Now that is really gold. Now accountability and repeated exposure to these philosophies and beliefs are what is key. As humans, if we learn something once, we usually just forget it by the next 5 minutes later. And we need to hear it repeatedly. Believe me, I'm very slow to learn. And so I know we need to hear the good principles repeated often, the basics repeated, the good foundation. And then we also need accountability. And this is where we have a closed Facebook community where everybody puts their questions out and we as coaches answer those questions, but also other people in the community answer those questions as well and give their perspectives, encourage each other. We have a very supportive and non-competitive environment where we don't care where you are on the ladder, you're part of a club that is inclusive. You're part of a system that's supportive and will help you with the challenges that you're facing. You put up there today, I've had a crap run and everything's gone to custard and I'm feeling scared because I've got a race in 2 weeks. People will be there to pick you up. We'll be there to pick you up and answer your questions and get you back on track. And that's why the system works. Even though this is online and we're all sitting in different parts of the world, this system works and we've made it so that the accountability and that it's not just an online thing that you download a spreadsheet full of numbers. That's not what this club is about. It's far more in depth than that, and it answers every problem, and we've come up with an answer for every challenge. Over the years, I've faced pretty much every challenge that a runner can face, and our athletes have as well, and those experiences can come and be valuable for you as a runner as well.
Well said, Lisa. Very well said.
So if you want to come and join us, where do you find out about us? Please come to runninghotcoaching.com. We would love to give you all the information, how this all works, what it costs. It costs less than the price of a cup of coffee a week for this whole entire system. So it's a no-brainer as far as we're concerned. This will pay for itself over and over again. And if all it did was just save you from a single injury, it would be worth the price of entry. Believe me, because it costs a heck of a lot more to go to a doctor and get stuff fixed, or a physio, or so if all it did, and of course it's going to do a whole lot more than that. So if all it did was save you from going down some pitfall or some common error that people make, or buying the wrong pair of shoes, or wrong, all of these sort of aspects of it, it's going to pay for itself over and over again. So come and check us out at runninghotcoaching.com. Check out our blogs, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at Running Hot Coaching or at Lisa Tamati. Follow us on both pages there. On Facebook, of course, on YouTube. We have a massive channel on YouTube. And we'd just love to help you. Reach out to us, ask us any of your questions. If you've got health issues, we answer those as well. And don't be shy about reaching out to us. Anything to add there, Neil?
No, it's perfect. Spot on. And yeah, we just, all to say is we look forward to seeing you on the other side. Come and join the family, join the rest of the athletes. You can check out what they're up to through the mediums that Lisa said as well, looking at what they've achieved and how well they've done. So come and join us. See you soon.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
See you.
Take this opportunity to tell you about my new e-course, The Path of an Athlete, that I just launched recently. This is all about how to develop mental strength, resilience and tenacity, learning how to overcome the barriers to reaching your full potential and stop those limiting beliefs that have held you back. Whether it be in your personal life, your career or in your sporting goals, you can control the outcome of your life. For more information, please go to www.lisatamati.co.nz/e-course.